Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a September 4th edition of the MSP Initiative MSP Talk. It is the beginning of the NFL season. Welcome to 25-26. Pumped here in Philadelphia. We're opening up the league season in South Philadelphia tonight. I'll be there, and I'm sure you'll be watching on TV. MSPinitiative.com. That's where we park most of the stuff that we do here at MSP Initiative. So check it out. That'll include recorded copies of these podcasts. So you can find that under sessions, podcatcher, and our YouTube page. You'll also find information on the Channel Sports Tour, where we're taking people to NFL games, believe it or not. I'm sure that doesn't shock anyone that follows this podcast. Kansas City, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Los Angeles. We are coming, and Dallas. We are coming to you. So if you're in one of those cities and you're interested in going to an NFL game as well as a channel event, then jump into our wait lists. Maybe you will be there with us. We also have information on upcoming block parties in Miami and Sydney. So you'll find information about those. Again, those are community events for you, the MSP community. We don't charge you one penny. We are doing them in conjunction in Miami with DattoCon and in Autotask with Kaseya Connect. You do not have to be attending those conferences as an MSP to join the block party. Although we did work out a special discount with both of those conferences, where if you're interested in registering for those conferences, we have a 20% off code. So if you want to go to those conferences, you could get a discounted registration. So there's all of the housekeeping. Find all of that at mspinitiative.com. Today we're bringing on Nathan from Petra Security, first time on the show. So how you doing today, my friend?
Man, I'm doing well. I was just telling Jen, it's not one of those warm and sunny days in SF. It's one of those cold and foggy days in SF. So I'd be doing better if I were in Connecticut with Jen.
Well, be careful about that Connecticut because the traffic is not great, and like it's good for about 3 or 4 months, and then I'm not so sure the weather has been very cooperative in this part of the world. Lots of rain, lots of wind, a little chilly. I don't know. Like the weather's been sort of upside down this year.
Man, you told me is the first Eagles game kicking off tonight?
It is Eagles, Dallas, South Philadelphia, and right
Wow.
before that happens, they unveil the newest championship banner in the stadium.
Wow. Well, I can't believe I'm the one standing between you and that.
Oh, I mean, once we're done here, I'll be jumping in the car and headed south to meet with the rest
Okay.
of the rest of the area in the parking lot.
Wow. Wow. Well, I'll still try to make this the highlight of your day, but that's a tall order.
I mean, this and look for me on TV, and with the rest of the
Yeah.
800,000 Eagles fans, I feel like that are going to be down there.
Oh my God, that'd be nuts.
Before we get into other things, how about you personally, right? I always, for new people to come on the podcast, like a little, journey down memory lane. Like, how did you get where you're at now in technology land? And it's always good to get a little bit of context on how everybody gets to here. So go for it.
Yeah. So I come from an OffSec background, offensive security. Um, I'm fortunate to have some members of our team here who have been working in this space we work in is account takeover protection, identity protection. People call it ITDR. That's what we focus on. These are the roughly 80% of cyber attacks that are going to hit MSPs. And
Hmm.
that's somebody gets their account credentials stolen, their MFA token stolen, attacker gets into the account and starts wreaking havoc, sending phishing emails, accessing files, invoice fraud in the worst cases. That is the thing we protect against. When an attacker gets in, we detect that and shut them out. The DNA of the team, my own DNA, is more machine learning, large scale signals processing, taking things from Exchange and SharePoint and logins, putting them all together. My personal background is much more on the creating toolkits to phish side of it, and
Hmm.
was prior creating machine learning models to find vulnerabilities deep within code.
Okay, so
The
you're
rest of the team,
you're
large scale
like the
machine
new
learning.
you're like the
Yeah,
new generation of like. Let me go backwards.
please,
When
please.
I'm not that old, so I still consider myself pretty young. But when I
Yeah.
was going back to college, like information technology. And like I remember the first day I walked in, they're like, well, there's 7 categories of information technology, right? There's computer engineering, there's software engineering, there's this, there's that, right? And like this category that we're talking about kind of came a few, several years down the line, right? Where they would literally talk to people about cybersecurity and like that being its own competency and them creating actual formal degrees on that category. So like you came in after that, it sounds like that whole theme was established.
Yes.
Okay.
Fortunate.
No, hey, listen, a whole new industry has really, I mean, I would
Yeah.
say new,
Yeah.
but like more formalized, right? I mean,
100%.
okay. So before we go into the rest of your team,
Please.
why did you pick that as your career choice versus all the other flavors? Okay. And then fast forward to 2025, is it like, do you find the future of this particular category is going to get deeper, or do you think largely it's been solved?
First, why I got into this, cyber is fun, man. It is all about getting extremely deep on some system and figuring out where somebody like outsmarting the system, if you will, or outsmarting the human actors involved.
Okay.
That's all of cyber. And it'll never go away. The more technology we create, the more there are holes left in these larger and larger and larger stacks. It just compounds. It doesn't get better, it gets worse. And it gets more and more complex. So you get increasingly complex systems that require more and more and more exploration to find weaknesses in, but exponentially more than that exist. So cyber is such a fun field to be in.
No, that's fair. So it sounds like you answered 2 questions in one shot. So
Yeah.
you said machine learning. In my opinion, that was what AI, that what is now being called AI actually came from. And a lot of people, some people argue this point with me, and I'm like, no, 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 no. This AI marketing, that's great. Like I understand that's like the last 18, 24 months, but like before then, like it came from somewhere. It didn't just show up on the map out of nowhere like a spaceship. So do you agree with that? Like, is that really what's happening underneath the hood, or do you say that that's the wrong definition?
You know, to be honest with you, some of it did show up 24 to 36 months ago as a spaceship.
Okay.
Like there it's such a Cambrian explosion of not just it's not just the fact that these models are fantastic because they are. It's also the fact that you now have a whole bunch of very well incentivized, very smart people at research labs contributing, contributing, contributing. And so it just goes faster and faster and faster. And
Hmm.
so honestly, I mean, the period from 2016 to 2022 was still a phenomenal time in machine learning, but the period since has been so much faster than that whole period.
Interesting. Well, okay. So, there's some history to it, but to your point, a lot of the stuff we're seeing now, like, really wasn't on the scene before a couple of years ago.
Definitely true.
All
Now,
right.
don't get me wrong, there is a lot of cool technology that has been on the scene for a while, but I mean, in the last 2 years, we've seen more than a decade of the progress prior all come in at once.
Huh.
And that's crazy.
It is a good time to be alive. Like the iPhone launched in 2008. Like, consider that. But okay. All
That
right.
was that was before I was alive, so I
Uh,
can't really consider it.
okay. All
Nah,
right.
I'm joking.
Um, so I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna ask this question. I've been asking it the whole year, so I'm gonna keep
Yeah,
going. Love new things. I'm a bleeding edge guy. But my current example is McDonald's, Wendy's, and now the newest guy. I use fast food because I'm a food guy. I may not look it, but I'm
yep.
still a foodie. Um, Now Taco Bell have all
Okay.
tried to take AI in its current form, plug it into the drive-through order taker, and all three have now come out and said maybe it wasn't a good idea. We need to go backwards. And the most recent example was after 2 million orders using the AI on the pilot, they started running into weird glitches like 18,000 orders being added to one guy's bill at the drive-thru. So like
Mhm.
are we going a little bit too fast for, consistency and outcome?
What I will say is I'm hesitant to use the word AI in
Okay.
general because what you're talking about is a degree of large language model slop, if you will.
Okay. I
Right?
never heard it
Very
put that
hard to
way.
verify, very hard to get deep on. Those are the kinds of systems that are much more prone to factual inaccuracies. When we talk about this stuff, we talk generally about machine learning. Verifiable, very deeply scientific, a
Hmm.
different type of let's just throw everything to a language model and pull out whatever we can, which is more of what drive-through systems and others do.
Okay. So, word to the wise, not all things are created equal. Okay. So, back to your background and your team. Keep going.
Well, the other thing I'll say on that is AI is a blessing and a curse. A lot of people see a lot of people see massive efficiency gains. A lot of us use ChatGPT on the daily and think, oh my God, what other areas of my life could I be doing 10 times better? That is awesome. It brings everybody to the table of, wow, is there a chance for me to be doing something 10x better? And I think our product is a 10x better. And so that means that all of a sudden people have an appetite to try something that is 10x better new. On the other hand, it creates skeptics because they associate AI, yeah, oh, 100%, because they associate some AI slop with all AI technology, which is also fair. We've also all experienced AI slop.
I just, I'm all about tech. I love tech. I wouldn't be in this industry, in the sandbox that we live in, without the tech.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
it's like a toy store to me, right? We're always opening up something new. But the practical part of it is where I go the other way. And I'm like, hey, love new, but does it work consistently enough that I get to my outcome almost all the time? And so that's where the story takes a turn because if it's not consistent and I'm constantly having to deal with the aftermath of inconsistency, I'm I could even be in worse position, and so that's where I worry a bit, but that's
No,
just
yeah. Hey, that's why with our team and with polling people, we're pretty aggressive on going after research labs,
hmm
whether in universities or elsewhere, because a lot of those practices are A, they're deeply and rigidly scientific. B, they're very focused on error checking and again, scientific processes as accurate as possible. And it's an antidote to the move fast and break things AI slop. You
mm,
get on the machine learning side, I mean, some of the best researchers you can coming out of university today, especially because so much has changed in the last 2 years. I mean, a decade's worth of progress has happened all at once. People who come from these research labs have a lot more capability to get really deep on these models, as opposed to taking what comes out of a language model and plugging it away.
yeah, like that's when like hallucination that word comes in, right? Where like it
Yes.
just makes up an answer.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm. Okay,
No.
let's go back. Hold on, I'm gonna rewind
Please.
a second.
No, you're good.
You're like, hey, we work on, and you start saying like token theft and this and that. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think the average help desk manager or owner of a managed services, IT services company maybe understand what these, these things are, right? Like, yes, they got the message. We got to turn on MFA for everything. And if it doesn't have MFA, then we
Yep.
got problems. Like they got that message because, you know,
It took years. It was
well,
pounded in the industry. Yeah.
well,
By,
I think the real, I mean, a lot, not all of it, but a big part of it was like the cyber insurance companies would effectively not insure
yep.
you or your
Hmm.
customer or not pay out on a claim because of a checkbox on a form that said, yes, I turned on MFA.
Yep.
But going a step further, let's say they did, they got the message. It's, like it's, this token theft or credential stealing or like maybe we can dive into like the definition of exactly what you're saying so the average person who's not
Yeah.
like a security person understands what we're talking about.
Yeah. 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 So token theft is people, it's funny. Token theft is kind of a Rorschach test. It, people ascribe different meanings to it depending on what they've experienced in the past. What it technically means is that an attacker gets a user's credentials, often that includes username, password, and MFA token, and uses that to send a request to Microsoft, usually Microsoft, gets a result back, and then uses the token they get back in that request to do other things in that account. For example, read emails, send emails, look at files, download invoices, or phish other people in that organization. In the worst cases, I mean, when this is left unabated, we see them sending invoices to trusted third parties of the company that was hacked and stealing money from their suppliers, saying, oh, hey, by the way, we've changed our payment details. You should pay this person now. Obviously, coming from a real account, no reason to think it's false. So that's today the highest loss vector of any cybercrime.
It's probably the easiest thing to do, right? I mean,
It is. Oh, 100%. You also, from a technical perspective, it's more and more automated because it's not that sophisticated. You
yeah,
find invoice, you pull invoice details, you replace your own, and then you send it back out.
it's like editing a Word document.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So,
So that
so
process is token theft.
okay, so let's rewind for a second. I followed the Microsoft guidance, right? Like I turned
Yeah.
on conditional access to limit, locations of where people can like log in from, and some people used to call this geo IP filtering in other products.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right, and then like I turned on MFA on every account
Yes.
using the Authenticator app from Microsoft, or maybe you look at Duo, third party, whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I got my Microsoft Secure score to like get go up past what do they want, past 70 or 75%, whatever it is. I don't even know if that's real, but like people say they can. Okay, cool. But like all of that doesn't solve for what we're talking about, which is you already are logged in. Microsoft says you've authenticated, you're past the barrier, and then somebody basically used your already logged in account to do bad
Yep.
things.
Yeah, I think this is a huge part of the frustration MSPs feel. I mean, they've spent the last 5 years trying to convince their clients they need MFA in the first place. Huge lifestyle shift for a lot of these companies.
Hmm.
And they've done security awareness training. They have invested a whole lot in conditional access,
Hmm.
blocking all sign-ins from outside the US. And even after doing all that work, now they're seeing a massive spike in these kinds of attacks. Some stats. There was between November 2023 and November 2024, Microsoft reported a 146% increase in just this kind of attack. And the year
Wow.
prior was the same thing. So over the last 3 years, zooming out, I mean, 5 to 6x increase in just this kind of attack. And that shows
So,
no signs of stopping.
yeah, so like I don't know about you, like my Windows computer, I sign into outlook.office.com. And like I shut my laptop lid, I go somewhere else, I open it up the next day, I'm still logged in,
Yes.
right? Like I didn't have to
Yep.
re-sign back in, I'm still
Yeah.
in. So
Mhm.
like, is it, is a poor man's way to fix this to like force people to automatically get signed out more frequently and then having to have them sign back in? Because that doesn't seem to happen on a regular.
Not really. It's
Mm.
not as much about the persistence of the sessions or how long they're for. A good attacker these days, one of the things that differentiates Petra from other people in the space, Hunters at DDR, Blackpoint Cloud Response, etc., is that we specialize in catching not just the standard run-of-the-mill attackers, but also the very stealthy attackers. These have risen a lot in volume. For example, use of residential proxies anecdotally was like 5% beginning of the year of attacks have this sophisticated pattern. Today, it's 30-ish to 40-ish% of attacks we see have this very sophisticated pattern. That's because
Okay,
these have
so,
become part
so
of
so you're
toolkits,
saying a
become
proxy
democratized.
is I'm somewhere, I'm using, let's just call it a VPN because people understand that, right? I'm
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
using a path into another computer server data center in another country in another locale to
yeah.
effectively get past the geographical limitation.
Two things. The first is the more sophisticated threat actors establish persistence faster.
Okay.
Most of the time, this happens within an hour that they establish some kind of persistence, right? That can
Okay.
be a rogue app, that can be an inbox rule, new times, mailbox configurations, MFA methods, et cetera, et cetera. They'll do it pretty fast.
Hmm.
That's more true of the more sophisticated attackers. This is one of the signs that a more sophisticated attacker takes. Almost all attackers these days use some kind of proxy.
Okay.
And that tracks with the stat that 70 to 80% of attacks today are launched from within the US.
Yeah.
So geolocation is kind of out the window. Because
Yeah.
persistence happens so fast, a session of an hour is going to make everybody annoyed and still not going to stop the guy from establishing persistence and getting back in. So short session doesn't do very much.
So that we just broke that idea. Okay. And if they're launching from within the United States, then the geo, like, hey, I'm not gonna lock my Microsoft account down to just sessions from Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
I'm gonna
And
say,
the hard part is that even if you do, a lot of people alert on VPN use
hmm
everywhere. When we talk to a lot of people who use, for example, Hunter Site TDR, that's a notorious thing we hear about, VPN use. They'll keep learning on VPN use. The hard reality is that users use VPNs a lot more frequently than attackers do today. Attackers, especially the kind we're talking about, will use something called a residential proxy. These
okay.
are way harder to detect. They are, because they don't flag as a proxy at all, because they're not really. Uh, this is actually one of the interesting second order effects of the AI boom, is that there is a huge market for grabbing data all over the web. And so
hmm
residential proxies were spun up to satiate that need. They are real users' devices all over the country that you can route traffic through primarily in order to web scrape. Because a
Aha.
big data company wants to grab data everywhere. They don't want to be detected as a bot. And so they'll use real user devices, and that real user will get paid for letting traffic go through their device.
I see.
And what that means is the ISP is Verizon, AT&T, like the most benign IPs ever. If you were to just open your laptop in a random coffee shop and sign in, it's almost certainly going to be that ISP. And that they're more expensive. They are extremely dangerous because they do not flag as a proxy. And you can geo-target to basically any city in the US programmatically.
Wow.
So some of the new attack toolkits, one of the huge ones uses what's called a Cloudflare turnstile, which
Mm.
you check a little box that says, I'm not a robot, I'm a human. That thing captures your location, your device fingerprint, and it will route to a residential proxy as close to you as possible. So for example, also in Philadelphia, because it's an easy place to get a residential proxy. And then we'll sign in using your same device fingerprint and your same location.
Wow.
And
That's
like at that
way.
point, how the heck do you
They don't
how do
even,
you guess
yeah.
that?
So basically, they like cloned you and your
Yes.
device, and then they used it somewhere else, and you can't tell that it wasn't you.
Yes. You can tell it's a new IP, but it very well could be you in a coffee shop in that city.
Wow. Well, I mean, it sounds like this is easy.
Yes. Yeah. It's what's crazy too is like there was a day when the attackers were creating their own tech. Today, the attackers are not creating their own tech. There's a supply chain. There's a whole bunch of groups, primarily based in Russia, who use Telegram bots to distribute this kind of tech. It's software. They're like, hey, buy a subscription to my phishing toolkit. And then cybercrime groups will buy subscriptions to these toolkits and just they come out with new features every week. They get pushed out to
It's
the
like a
Telegram group.
SaaS business for the bad guy.
It is. Yeah.
Wow. That's
They're
crazy.
booming. Yeah. They're doing very well.
Well, I mean, so basically what they're saying is we're just going to make this so Fisher Price, you don't have to do all the work yourself. You could be one man band and still be able to do a lot of damage.
That's exactly right.
How does the average everyday MSP who's effectively selling help desk services supposed to even know this is happening and counteract that?
Usually, MSPs we talk to will find out this is happening when, especially with the more sophisticated toolkits, when a whole bunch of phishing emails are sent. Somebody at one of the recipient companies says, hey, I think this person is hacked. And hopefully they then get to stop it before it causes other than reputational damage, because the reputational damage is usually done.
Well, I mean, listen, that I don't know if they figure it out. Like they're like, all right, a whole bunch of emails went out from somebody's Office 365 account. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reset all the passwords, like
Yep.
try and lock it down, put a request into Microsoft, to figure out what happened to the account. Like, I don't know if they ever get to the actual source, what actually happened. They're just trying to prevent the bleeding.
Yeah. Yeah. We actually was talking to an MSP this morning who called it, they had a nasty case where there were, well, I'll get into this a little later. We do this thing called an autopsy. We look backwards. And in that, we found that there were 20 something accounts that were compromised. Because, of course, you get access to one, send internal phishing emails all over the org. And so the MSP described it as burning it down, burning the everyone's identity down, removing all MFA methods, removing all sessions, removing all apps. But it took their team like the better part of 30 to 40 hours to figure that out.
Wow. Because you don't, yeah, like you basically have to nuke everything because you don't know who or who isn't.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's it's a very time consuming process.
Yes, 100%.
Or you just, basically you have to wait for everybody to actually pay attention that they can't log in and then start all over.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Have you ever been part of an MSP that's been through one of these experiences before?
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of MSPs and on
Yeah.
varying levels of whatever you want to call it, a breach, a cyber incident, and they're all different kinds, right? Like the low hanging fruit example that you gave, right? The hey, somebody sent an email and convinced you to send money somewhere. I've seen that many times. Like,
Yeah.
if anything, if you get cyber insurance, that's one of the first things they will insure you for,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So I've seen that happen uh, relatively a lot. Um, the send somebody's account getting compromised and them sending a bunch of spam out from their account, for sure, I've seen that. Don't know if it's exactly the way you're saying it's happened, but I've seen that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the hey, somebody sat well, the explanation and after the fact is, hey, somebody sat on their device or network for a really long time, and there it was like months before they saw something out of the ordinary happen, before they figured out there was a problem. I've heard of that happening as well, like quasi regularly.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
the problem is a lot of these cases don't go reported. So,
Yeah.
like,
Definitely true.
the analysis of, well, what exactly happened? Like, we never get to that point.
Hmm.
Like, in the cases that I'm telling you about,
Oh, yeah.
an insurance claim in almost every case that I just mentioned was processed. And then the
Yep.
insurance company's vendor, incident response designated,
DFIR firm. Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
yeah, like they
Yeah. Hmm.
come in to figure it out because nobody knows nobody can really answer the question.
Yeah. 100%.
But if it wasn't for that situation and the insurance company having their person on deck, MSP has no clue. And like I feel like that's pretty expected. Like the MSP does not have the capability to go backwards, like you said, an autopsy. Oh, they're just trying to figure out how to stop the
Stop
bleeding.
the bleeding. Yeah. 100%.
So,
That is the problem we solve.
okay. Well, fast forward, like to finish the
Yeah.
last idea is, hey, so and so who I met at an event said that they deployed these 18 vendor products, and between the combination of all of those, they feel better that they're in a better position. And it's like, hey, I'm all for best practice. Like, sure, did we check the box? Did we follow the, industry guidance? Sure.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't say that these people are monitoring those things. Like, hey, did we do the work? Sure. Is it doing the job? I hope. Do we know when there's a problem? Well, when there's a problem, I guess we'll go back and figure it like that's basically what happens almost every time.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely a black eye from it because coming back to the outcome, right? We said, can I get a consistent outcome? Very few times is the outcome of that the end customer sticks around with their MSP. Oh, I would say a high percentage, like I'm just guessing a number here, like north of 80% of the time they leave because they lost confidence that you can do, you know, prevent the problem from happening
Yeah.
again. And then
Hmm.
they just go to the next guy. So like even if you did the best job and you checked every box and you did all the guidance that everybody is all telling you to do, that event is a
It's a
just
black eye.
crushing. It's crushing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It hurts trust. It really hurts trust.
All right, so work backwards then. What are you doing in that example? And I believe what the picture I've painted is the mass majority, like not
Yeah.
51%.
Oh, yeah.
Like the major, like when I say mass majority, like again, George guesstimate figure, like 85, 90% of people that I run into who say they're running an IT services, managed services business,
Yep.
this is their life.
Yep.
So explain to me now in that picture, what are you doing different and what is the result change?
So we established this is 80% of attacks that an MSP is going to face. It is by far the most common attack they're going to face. And it's the most common way their customers are likely to lose money. The highest loss vector of any cybercrime. Most people to detect against it do a couple things. They use one of the, like, if they do have it managed, they often use something that is a second product of another vendor and has some of that second product syndrome, is not the baby, does not get the love it deserves, and
Bolt
isn't
on.
built to detect today's attacks. And again, I just painted the picture of some of these attacks have changed so rapidly, even just since the beginning of the year, that they're not built to detect some of those. On the
Uh-oh.
other side, you have MSPs, like just like you said, who have done something for this, but aren't really actively managing it.
No,
There's a recent
definitely.
acquisition that I will not name on this podcast, uh, of a vendor that a lot of times that falls into that bucket. They'll get 3,000 alerts a week. They'll have one person full time on it. Eventually, they just kind of stop looking at a lot of those alerts, or they'll look at them 5 to 10 days later, and that hurts.
Time.
So yes, it's a ton of
Time.
time. What we do differently is we apply large scale machine learning data processing to this problem to make behavior based detection. Instead of impossible travel, this location to that location, a lot of people have seen noise from that signal, or new ASN for user, another really, really noisy signal, or again, risky sign in from X location, oftentimes people traveling, another really, really noisy signal. We know that today's attacks are much more sophisticated, and we can't rely on location anymore. We can't rely on the device anymore, again, because it could be fingerprinted. So instead, we build deep behavioral baselines for these users. Things like, for example, how often is this user logging in from this device at this time over the last 180 days? Or how often is this user, once they log in, looking at email of this type on this device over the last 365 days? That helps us much more accurately detect when somebody is just traveling versus when there's actually a malicious actor trying to log into the account. And
Hmm.
it helps us do it a lot faster. This is one of the things that it's funny. When I first started this company, I thought that the thing that would resonate is accuracy, catching attacks that others are missing. And I think it's hard for people to admit when the tool they're using right now is missing attacks. And instead, what people resonate on is faster. Because on a side by side, they'll see it's 10, 20 minutes faster consistently. And they go, oh my God, this is crazy. This is so cool. And that's the thing people hark on.
Okay. So the message I've gotten from you so far is the security tool you put in last year and you signed a multi-year contract for is
Yep.
not even paying attention to what is maybe happening now.
Yes. And this is a function of nobody's fault. The threats have changed pretty drastically. They've also gone way, way up. So if
Mm,
it's become, 3 to 4x the problem it was just a couple years ago.
wow. This, I mean, it almost reminds me of an age-old problem. I used to install my semantic antivirus. I was waiting for my virus definitions to come in,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Mm-hmm.
haven't written the definition for whatever the problem was that day. Like I'm going back to the 2000s here, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah. Lay it on me. Lay it on
2025
me.
version, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So like the problem is how many more products do I keep adding onto my thing in order to when does it stop?
I wish I could tell you, like, cybersecurity is a whack-a-mole game. What we can say is that it's not like this is some 10 to 20% of attacks. This is 80. It is truly by far the most common attack. So I totally get people's feeling of fatigue, but it also deserves their attention.
I listen, if your stats are true, then yeah, I mean, like I feel like in the last 18-ish months, the conversation flipped to, hey, as the person running an IT services, managed services technology
Yep.
firm, you need to lower your risk, right? Can't 100% cover anything.
Yep.
Government has unlimited money. They're not covered, right? But if you can lower the probability of the issue, then you're in a better boat than most of the other people. Like, let me give you the cliche. I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you. Ah.
Yeah, yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah.
So
That is
I'm gonna
basically
throw.
what we help people do. Like
Okay,
again, when there's an account compromise, like the bear is already here.
sure,
We've done all we can to try to stop the bear prior, and then this is the last line of defense. The bear is already inside the account.
sure.
We help people outrun that bear before they can go and wreak havoc and do damage.
Okay, so the question I'm gonna come at you with, and this is like you're
Please,
gonna have to do
please.
this a little bit. Ready? Of this problem that
Yeah.
80% of the you're saying in the last 6 months, 80% of the incidents are this.
Mhm.
If I implement your technology, the probability percentage that I'm gonna get affected goes from where to where?
By affected, we might mean that an attacker gets in and accesses a whole bunch of emails,
Mm-hmm.
or gets in and sends out invoices to our
Mm-hmm.
customers that are fake, and the potential for their customer to lose a whole bunch of money, or sends out a whole bunch of emails and then burns the reputation of that company because now they're not nearly as trustworthy with all their subcontractors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, affected means all those things. The probability of being affected in that way goes to just about zero.
Okay.
Like, I don't know the last time there's been an incident that we've stopped that's been able to get to that stage.
Okay. That's a strong statement. I asked the question. There's the answer. All right. So you said a word like it sounds like that's the core of what we're talking about, but you also said autopsy. So maybe explain to me why an MSP. Well, number one, the customer always asks what happened. That's the
Yes,
first
100%.
question every
Yeah.
time. I don't
Yep.
know if I ever give them the actual answer, but they sure as hell ask, right?
Yeah.
So how does your system help me get to that answer?
It's funny. One of the members of our team, we just did the Exchange Denver
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
conference.
Gaylord Rockies, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was great. We got voted best newcomer, which very, very thankful to the community for that. Uh, he phrased it as when you get pinged with an incident, you have two terrible choices. You either A, uh, call the user, tell them there's been an attack. They ask what happened, how it happened. I didn't click on any link. I don't know what you're talking about. And the MSP says, I'll get back to you on that. And then leaves them locked out for a couple hours while they go investigate, make sure there's no persistence, etc. Or option B, they lock them out. They immediately go and search for persistence or what happened, etc. And then the user is angrily calling them saying, I'm locked out of my account. What the heck happened? Either way, there's a tough conversation. And so part of what we built is the ability to get an instant timeline of everything that happened. When the
Mm.
attacker first got in, when they looked at files, when they looked at emails, what they looked at, how long they were inside for, all these things.
Mm.
Also to pull out the original phishing email that actually got that user. So we oftentimes, I mean, it's embarrassing to click on a phishing link. A user will often come and say, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't click on a link. And you can see exactly how they got phished. And it helps mend the relationship.
It's definitely a relationship helper
Yeah.
because now it's not the shrug shoulder. What are you talking about? Go do your job. It's, oh, I screwed up. Sorry.
Yes, exactly. Sorry. And then no worries. We're going to make you whole. Like it makes everything better.
Uh, uh, a
A
hundred
lot
percent
better.
better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the big reason why that is possible is time.
Yeah.
You can get to that answer rapidly. That diffuses things. If it takes you forever, or maybe you never even get to the answer, but let's say it takes you a week,
Yep.
you may not have a customer by the time the week ended.
That's definitely true.
I've seen.
So we built a lot of technology to find all this stuff instantly. As soon as you get the alert, the whole story's already there. So you can just have the conversation immediately and tell them everything that happened.
Okay. I like that. All right. So we have the solve for the 80%. We have the retroactive, what actually happened, but rapidly, right? Like
Yes.
now you're using autopsy. I like that. I'm a Dexter fan. We talk about that on this
Oh,
show.
nice. Okay, cool.
Are you
Yeah.
up? Are
Yeah.
you up to date on the current Dexter Resurrection?
No. Is it a good show?
Did you watch the original Dexter?
Way back. Yeah, I
Okay.
did.
You should watch the new Dexter.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Cliff Notes. There's an MSP in is part of the storyline.
Is there actually?
Hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It almost
Yeah.
like validated the whole sandbox for me, right? I was like, we made it to an
Yep.
actual TV show.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
that's
funny.
our
I find myself explaining MSP a lot of the time. Again, like I live in a very tech heavy, very like uh very research lab driven culture over here. A lot of people don't spend a lot of time, like I grew up in North Carolina, they don't spend any time in places like that. And so I get to explain the MSP industry to a whole lot of people who, have their heads down in language models or research labs or things like that. And it's the coolest place. Genuinely. I mean, I also don't know what industry is more in-person focused. For
Isn't
being
that
very
weird?
technology
Isn't that
driven, it's
weird?
very in-person focused. Yeah.
Isn't that just like it's like an inverted thing? It's like, hey, we're in the tech industry, we should be on the up and up, but it's also so in person.
Let's fly somewhere 10 times a year. Yeah.
Yeah, Orlando.
Orlando. Why? Scholars may never know. We'll never know.
I'll tell you exactly why. We're going to use the theme park industry in order to
Oh
drag
yeah.
you to Orlando. I mean, that's
Oh
what it
yeah.
is.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Like, I hope you, at this point, you better have the annual pass because, yeah. Okay. So solve for the 80%,
Yeah.
answer the question rapidly if there is a problem.
Yes.
Those are the main two things we're solving for. Is
The
there
other thing
anything
that
else?
Well, the other thing that autopsy is useful for, autopsy allows us to go back up to 6 months and
Hmm.
pull out any account compromises that occurred in that time period.
Mm.
Any latent persistence, any latent attackers, anything, the full forensic story. And it all
All
happens in
right.
24 hours.
Okay. Hold on. What if they don't know that there's a problem? Do people use your technology to actually just scan their accounts to figure out if there is already a
If there's,
compromise?
yes, 100%.
Okay. So like this is like
It's,
a detection that could be used as a detection.
yes, 100%. It is also, people have found it really useful for prospecting, especially on the large and important clients. If they can come into a large and important client, say, hey, we're going to run this thing. They run
Mm.
it 24 hours back. They uncover. And in most cases, MSPs are not equipped to do the full remediation.
No,
So, I mean, they have a million things going on, of course. And so you'll often find some stuff lying around. Like you'll find a rogue app, you'll find a mailbox configuration, you'll find a stray MFA method, you'll find a SharePoint phishing lure that was left behind, all these kinds of little things. And then that, admittedly, is a tool we've seen a lot of MSPs use to poach business from other MSPs
you, you,
because,
you know what this reminds me of? This reminds
yeah,
me of when the first like ID agent who got acquired by Kaseya like 2 years into their history, right?
I
And
heard about
like,
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
have I been pwned.com, right? Similar
Yep,
strategy. It's like, I'm just
yep.
gonna put the domain name or email address and see what comes up. Hey, it's
All these things.
all
Yeah,
over there. It's like, hey, is this your password? Like that
yep,
effect,
yep.
right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So the question is, if I'm using this on a prospect, how much access do I need in order for it to do the scan?
You can get an IT admin there to approve of the link and never
Okay.
actually have global admin.
Okay.
That's what people typically do.
All right. Hey, just click on this link. You can remove it after if you want, right? The access.
Exactly.
Let it run. How long does it take to run? Is it an hour, a day?
24 hours.
Okay. And then you come up, you're like, uh-oh, here's the report. We got problems.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We set the notification methods, who gets notified when these things come in. And then typically we have phone support. We have a little button that says call a Petra analyst. And so typically one of our guys will get a call and they'll say, what the hell is all this? And in a like a curious, like, oh my God, I had no idea this was here kind of way. And
All
then we'll
this,
just get into it. Yeah.
gonna be honest with you. I didn't meet you until today. We haven't talked about your company until this session. That's the best
Yeah.
part of these, right? I can absolutely envision an MSP saying, "Hey, what do I got to do? I'm gonna run all my normal like network audits, whatever. Oh, we're gonna run this
Hmm.
and just you know treasure."
Yep. The cool thing about that is it hits him where it hurts.
Hmm.
Not to be, but you can see all the emails the attacker accessed, all the files they accessed, anything they sent it to whom, like it just makes it so crystal clear
I'm
what a
I
huge data loss happened
the fact that
with their
you
past
got it
MSP.
to that Fisher, that you got it to that understandable level, like Nathan, you're a smart guy. I can feel it through the screen, but like I, I've tried to go into Microsoft logs. I don't need like I'm Googling half the time. I'm submitting tickets. Like, what does this
Yep.
error mean? Like, I have no idea what I'm reading. And like, if your system has been able to regurgitate that and be like, boom, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this file, this email, this user, like, it would take somebody going by hand forever.
Yeah. We work with some DFIR firms as
Hmm.
well. They're the primary users of Autopsy. And the ROI math on a single mailbox compromise is typically 12 to 15 hours that it saves them. There's people who are trained to just do that. On a multi mailbox compromise, we set the ROI math at 30 hours. If it saves you 30 hours, it saves you 30 hours in analyst time. How much is that worth to you? Typically $100 an hour. Do the math.
So if I'm an MSP, I use your tool, I scan my prospect or even my existing customer base because I have no clue what's
Yeah.
actually happening.
Yeah.
I then, get a hit. Back to your comment of they don't know how to remediate that. Am I now going to a third party to figure out how to fix this? Or where do you go next?
We make it right at the top of all these things. It's a remediation actions panel.
Mhm.
In fact, we've got a new version of our website that'll make this a lot more present on there. It offers one-click remediation for everything that was in that account. So for example, attacker added an MFA method. It shows up right here with the specific MFA method they added, one-click disable. Or they added inbox rule. Of course, same thing, one-click disable. Added a rogue app, one-click disable. Added mailbox configuration, DKIM, et cetera, one-click disable.
It sounds a little bit too good to be true, buddy.
It's
Like
pretty
it
cool.
sounds
It's pretty
Fisher
cool.
Price to me.
No, this is the thing that I mean, we just did a whole bunch of these boardrooms. We're about to do a whole bunch in Tampa next week.
Mhm.
And first, I was very surprised. We learned from one of these boardrooms that we were the only vendor to actually show the product in the boardroom.
Well,
We do is we do
because
5 minutes of background and we go straight to the product.
right, because there's not enough. It's like 15 minutes. Like you don't have
Yeah,
enough time. All right.
exactly. But we go straight to the product. We go straight to the incident view and we show somebody these remediation actions and the ability to take them fast. And that is a huge, it's a gas moment. The other gas moments are the timeline, like seeing the phishing email to them getting in, accessing files, accessing emails, the whole timeline. That's awesome. And this thing
Mhm.
called we call attack impact. That is, it literally says they accessed this many emails and files, sent this many emails, files, modified this many, deleted this many, and here's the list of exactly what they did.
So is it in your plan of like because you're building this company as you're
Yeah,
going? What happens after email? You get to search for Teams, or you get to search for OneDrive? Like where do
we
we
do.
go?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah. No. You're good. You're good. We do. We do. We actually just shipped 2 weeks ago the ability to remove SharePoint phishing lures. This is probably the most common thing we see left unremediated.
Mm.
If an attacker's in an environment for a couple hours, they'll often upload another lure just in case they get locked out to get somebody else to like click on that document and get them right back into the account. Also because they use Microsoft infrastructure to launder their phishing emails. They don't even have to send a phishing email. They just share a document via Microsoft with somebody else. Microsoft sends them an email that says, hey, person you know, share a document with you. That document has a link on it that leads them to a fake portal, and then all
It's
hell
like
breaks loose.
Microsoft own system against them.
Yes, we call it laundering through their infrastructure.
Yeah, it's like a back door through the front
Yeah,
door.
yes. Honestly,
Crazy.
man, our biggest challenge right now, the thing we're focused most on, is our awareness in the space.
Yeah.
Most people listening to this have probably never heard of Petra. And that'll be true for another, I mean, hopefully as little time as possible, but probably for another year.
Yeah. I don't want to get on a rant, buddy. Maybe we'll
Please.
do that over a beer. But I have feelings on this topic. And yeah, no, I'm with you. And unfortunately the blueprint that everybody seems to Xerox on this topic is old, outdated, and expensive blueprint that makes people like go crazy. Uh, as
Talk
somebody
to me
who,
about it.
as somebody who's been through it and
Yep.
has spent the dollars and the time and the money, very few people walk out with a great outcome. Like I would say, a lot of people end up with an okay outcome, but and again, I didn't start off in this industry as a marketer, and I sure
Yep.
as hell not a good bean counter. Like I can run an Excel formula like the rest of them, but you know, I don't care if it's a SaaS company, an MSP, or a guy selling hot dogs on the cart on the corner. Like, we've all watched Shark Tank
Yep.
at some point. I haven't watched one in a really long time, but like the premise is still right. Okay. Cost of customer acquisition. What comes before cost of customer acquisition? Qualified sales contact. What comes before
Yep.
qualified sales contact? Marketing contact, cold contact, right? But
Oh yeah.
are they
Hmm.
the right contact in the right industry to you who you sell to? Okay. So I go all the way to the top of that. And I've paid a lot of expensive people to teach me this lesson, by the way. You go to the top of that and you're like, hey, what's your cost per contact? Which then turns into what is your cost per qualified sales demo?
Yep.
Then they ultimately get to transacting, cool. And then what is your cost to onboarded transacting?
Hmm. Hmm.
These numbers may sound like monopoly money to you. They absolutely make, like, if you follow it, and it's not hard to
Yeah.
follow it, they absolutely count. And so in this industry, right? And like, I'm not telling you anything I haven't told 1,000 people if they're willing to listen. If your cost per contact, it's the very first one in the line, right? Is north of 55-ish dollars per contact, chances are you don't make your money back by the time you get to the rest of the workflow. So if you're at 100, 125, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000, you're already in trouble. So like, no offense to all the people out there that
Oh yeah.
make
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
in-person connections happen, right? Like
Hmm.
what you said,
Hmm.
you went to boardroom.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
what is the cost of your boardroom?
Expensive. Yeah. Oh
Right?
yeah.
How many people are in a boardroom? Divide that by what? 12 people, however many people are in there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like if I'm at a couple $100, I'm already at a red
That's a
light.
hard game. Yeah. Yeah.
But like the math absolutely makes sense. And I'm not saying that at different stages, spending that kind of money makes sense because there are certain
For
times where
sure.
it makes sense to do.
Different second order effects you're trying to drive instead of
Right.
just leads. 100%.
But like as a non-venture, non-PE, like
Yep.
traditional bootstrapped, elbow grease kind of guy, and that's all the companies I've ever started and built.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you get north of that number, you probably already lost. And that's why I constantly refer to the sandbox or a good portion of the sandbox as the casino.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you got to be laser focused on CAC LTV or
Hmm.
else the whole thing's going to fall apart.
Yeah, but here's the problem. That number, if you just order off the menu, follow the blueprint,
Hmm.
it's keeps going up,
Yep.
right? And so,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially conference driven.
yeah,
100%. Yeah.
yeah, it keeps going up. And so when it doesn't work and all you did was order off the menu, you go back and say, well, hey, like, let me explain to you why, right? Like, I'm going to use actual math, not just me doing this. You know, person on the other side really doesn't care. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like,
Yeah.
well, don't like
Yeah.
it, don't come. Okay, cool. Like, so then you're back to, all right, how do I get awareness, but how do I get in front of my potential buyer? So like this
Yep.
problem is for any business. I don't care if you're
For
a
sure.
plumber.
For
I don't
sure.
care if you're a donut shop. I don't care if you're a SaaS company. I don't care if you're an MSP. Like this is
Yep.
2025. How does business work? So
Definitely all about CAC LTV. I
yeah,
totally
man,
agree with that.
I've definitely learned it the hard way, and I've gotten creative. I'll be honest. And sometimes that creativity is punished, right? It's like, well, you went through the back door, the side window, and it's like, so what? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
at the end of the day, I have a business to run. I'm running a for-profit, not a nonprofit, and I
Hmm.
want to make sure that the end of the line is I made some money, right? That's why I'm doing all of this.
Yep.
And like for some reason that comment goes like, whew. by the wayside sometimes, and I don't understand it. But anyway, back, and I'm going to relate this back to every MSP
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
listening,
Mhm.
right? Like, I know Paul Dipple's retired. I used to call him Dr. Doom, right? Service leadership. I know it got acquired by ConnectWise, yada yada yada. Okay, if like 20, I'll never forget it because I've seen this guy talk so many times. He's like, oh, 20% of MSPs are not even break even, negative. I'm like, so a quarter of the industry could be bankrupt, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I was like, and then what about the next section? He's like, oh, another 30% break even. So I was like, all right, so now half the industry is not profitable? Yeah. And I'm like, dude, we're doing something wrong. We're doing
Yeah,
something
yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
So, the best thing, like number one, understanding this math and understanding how your math and work backwards from. I'm a reverse
Hmm,
waterfall
hmm.
guy, right? It's important. But the other reality is, this is another hard lesson that I've learned. Like, learn to say no. As an MSP, I took on way too many projects that were absolutely not profitable at all. They were absolutely in the red. I did it because I was learning on the job or I really was trying to help somebody out and I, wasted my time.
Yep.
So you
Honestly,
gotta,
we're a huge believer in the right money models. We hear this is a constant topic of discussion in our team. Oftentimes, ITDR, M365 security, some semblance of it. I mean, it is the new perimeter. People talk about the new perimeter. It is the place that attacks are coming in. So
yeah,
obviously, the
it's not,
clients
it's
need the
not the
thing.
firewall anymore, right? Like, yeah.
Exactly. It is just not optional. Of course, clients need the thing. Most people we talk to either just rolled it out a year ago or
Hmm.
are just about to roll it out or having conversations internally about we really should roll this thing out. But how do we do that? How do we go to our customers and say, please, I would like some more money? And kudos to Huntress, I think, does the best job in the industry on helping people roll it out with their opt out campaigns.
Hmm.
That is a phenomenal idea. But there are so many others too. Like it can't just stop there. There are so many offer driven ways to make people feel intense value from this, to just show so much value, to get people bought into the outcome, to talk to them more about the outcome. Um, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I feel this personally with our business. There's so many things to focus on. You lose your creativity time doing things like making the right money models, making the right ways for people to buy the product and feel engaged and feel the value. That shouldn't be an MSP owner's job to think about each individual product and how they're going to show you value in each area. It should be the vendor who they buy it from's job to help them as a partner help roll that out to their clients and make money on top of it. The big thing
I'm
we're
with
focusing on is how to do that better.
No, I'm with you, but this autopsy, so kind of bubble that you have in
Yeah,
your
yeah,
stack, I believe that is a smoking gun marketing prospecting tool. Like I
I
understand what
agree.
you originally built it for, but if I'm using it in that way,
It's
nothing,
huge, man. It's
nothing. Like I
huge.
said, nothing like, hey, is this your password? Where'd you get that from? Well, it's on the internet, man. Sorry to tell you, but if you've been using this all
Yeah,
day,
yeah.
you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like that
Sorry to tell you,
really
this attacker is
works.
still in. They've been reading your emails every day, that kind of thing.
That is absolute gold. I think you should leave it that every time. That's my 2 cents. We'll definitely do more of this over a beer.
Yeah, man.
Guys, Petra Security. Nathan, where do people like number one, spell it for the people listening to the audio version of this? Where do they find more?
Petra. Petra.
Petra. Petra. Okay.
Petrasecurity.com.
Petrasecurity.com. Go check it out. Sounds like they're about to like put the smoking gun at the top of the website. So go check it out. The one click
Yes, 100%.
remediation. Again, still sounds too good to be true, but I'll believe it when I'm going to go and see it myself.
Dude,
The
yeah, absolutely.
autopsy thing, I don't know. I might, I would recommend almost signing up for that. It's just a marketing tool, and then like the rest will come. But I digress. Go check
It's
that
pretty
out,
great.
and then
Two things
have
I'll
no,
note.
yeah.
We will be in the industry for a while. Definitely
Hmm.
come say hi because you know us. Second thing is it's really easy to onboard. 2 clicks on Microsoft, and we do this thing called a dissection speed gap test. If you want to see how your current stack compares, how much faster you could be, how much more you could be showing people, we do these for free.
Proof's in the pudding, man. I like the two
Yeah,
clicks. I
yeah,
was gonna. I didn't even get into how hard is it to turn this on, but like, okay, you got, like 2 clicks is easy enough, and like the whole point where like you could go to your prospect and just have them do, click it to, not global admin, like
yep,
that's easy enough, right? But so you've made this Fisher Price enough to actually get the product working, which is big cog in
yeah.
the wheel, to be honest.
Was not easy. Was not easy.
Well, that's the magic. Guys, Petra
George,
Security,
appreciate you,
like for the record, had not talked to Nathan before this session. I had
man.
not looked at this company before this session. I was
Yeah,
just asking the questions that I would ask if I was like in the boardroom, checking
yeah,
out and had some time. This is awesome. This session was recorded. Guys, please go back and check this out. I mean, if anything, this is your new biz dev strategy for the next 6, 8, 12 months, right? Like, please learn the new stuff. But if there's any one takeaway from this thing, it's an eye-opening one. I'll leave you with this. The 18 tools that you just put in last year, 2 years, 3 years ago, signed a contract to get all your customers on, may not even be doing what the current, like not even looking for what the current way that people are, the bad guys are working. And like that is a 5 alarm fire to me. That is a 5 alarm fire to me because you're spending you thought you did it, you spent the time, you did the work, you convinced your customers, and that was last year's problem. It's not today's
yeah,
problem.
definitely. George, a pleasure, man.
Appreciate you, Nathan. Have a good one, everyone. Go Birds.
Go Birds.